Hi, friend. Welcome to Holly's Highlights, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you to intentionally live your life full of purpose. I'm your host, Holly Kirby, motivational speaker, leadership cultivator, marketing strategist, and personal cheerleader. Let's check out today's highlight. As we head into the new year, I just want to say thank you because you are the reason that this community even exists. Your support helped launch the monthly email list. It grew this podcast into the top 5% globally, and it took Facelift to 9 awards, with profits donated to help fight cancer through the Huntsman Cancer Foundation. You've also opened doors to speak at businesses, nonprofits, church groups, and leadership events this year. So let's keep that momentum going. Join the email list, subscribe, rate and review, share the show, invite me to speak in 2026, and pass hope along by gifting Facelift. Let's make this year our biggest year yet at encouraging, inspiring, and equipping each other to intentionally live our lives full of purpose. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Holly's Highlights. As we wrap up December, this whole year actually, this strange, tender space between reflection and anticipation, I just wanted to sit with you today. No rush, no hustle, just a pause before the calendar turns. This episode is a little different. I know it's another personal one and tender, but it's one I've held in my heart for about 2 weeks now, just asking God how to share it in a way that honors love and legacy and even loss. See, about 2 weeks ago, my aunt passed away. Not a blood relative, but in every way that mattered, she was ours. And if you've ever had someone in your life who chose you, who loved you not because they had to, but because they wanted to, well, this episode is for you. I've shared bits of the story before, but today I'll share a little bit more in detail, I guess. Shortly after I was born, 2 people entered my life who would quietly and steadily change it forever. Larry and Barbara Keating. They were dear friends of my parents. My dad was their senior pastor of the church they attended. And while they didn't have children of their own, they somehow had room, so much room, in their hearts that they then adopted me and my brother and my sister. Not legally, not formally, but definitely soul deep. Even after we moved out of state from Missouri to Utah, actually going to a little detour trip to Illinois, the connection never faded. Summers meant visiting them. Graduations meant that they were in the crowd. Weddings meant that they were not only right there, but they were a part of the wedding group or the recessions and all of that. They were just not like parents, as I don't want to put them on that pedestal of my parents, but they were definitely there as an aunt and uncle figure, cheering us on always. They showed up again and again. And I'll never forget that when my former husband walked out, when my world just cracked open and shattered everywhere, and I was trying to hold myself together, especially for my children, it was with them that we found our refuge. Me and my kids went out to Missouri and had that little getaway, a safe place, a place where I didn't have to explain myself. They were just always home away from home. It's funny how grief doesn't just live in the big moments, but it lives in the smallest details. To this day, the sound of cowboy boots makes me think of Larry. Catching lightning bugs at dusk, riding lawnmowers around and visiting flea markets, eating watermelon, not by the slice, but where Larry would cut it in half and then in quarters from there. So a total, like a big watermelon would end up being cut 4 times total or 4 pieces. And you would take your watermelon chunk, so end to end watermelon, and just like dive into it. Forks totally optional. Car trips to Branson, long drives up the coast to Maine. And somehow, because of them, I still love traveling with a blanket and a pillow in the car with the air conditioning cranked up way too high, because that's what safe felt like. That's what love felt like. Now, Larry passed away about 5 years ago, suddenly from a heart attack. And now his wife has finished her decade-long battle with Alzheimer's. If you've ever watched someone you love fade while still physically present, you know there's grief that comes in layers. But today, more than anything, I feel gratitude, just a deep, holy gratitude. Love is a choice. And the first truth I want to sit with is some of the most powerful relationships in your life will not come from obligation, but from choice. Larry and Barbara didn't have to love us. They didn't owe us anything. They chose us. There's a quote often attributed to Maya Angelou that says, "People will never forget how you made them feel." And what they made me feel over decades was seen, safe, and significant. Who are you choosing to love right now? Intentionally, consistently, perhaps even quietly? And who has chosen you? The Bible speaks to this kind of love so beautifully in Proverbs 18:24, where it talks about one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And in Romans 12:10, be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourself. See, family isn't always defined by DNA. Sometimes they arrive through friendships, through church, through hardship, through seasons we never would have chosen ourselves. Sometimes it's defined by devotion. God often answers our prayers for love through people we never imagined would become permanent. Larry and Barbara didn't leave behind wealth or a big platform. They didn't build something with their name on it. They left behind stories. They left behind people who were stronger because they were loved well. They left behind presence. They were there, as I shared, at graduations and weddings and heartbreak and healing. And that presence, steady, faithful, unflashy, that's what lasts. Henry Nouwen said, the greatest gift you can give someone is your presence. It's not advice, not solutions, not perfection, but presence. We see that in the book of Job. And here's the truth we all need to hear is no one remembers how busy you were, but they remember if you were there. Were you there when it mattered? Were you there when it was inconvenient? Were you there when there was nothing to gain? That's the legacy. So ask yourself, if someone were to speak about you years from now, would they say they showed up for me? As we head into a new year, I want to offer a few simple but powerful action steps that we can all take going into 2026. 4 of them, to be exact. First one, I want you to name your people. Write down the names of the people who have loved you well, and then tell them while you still can. Number 2, be someone's safe place. You don't need a big house or perfect answers. You just need a willing heart. Number 3, show up consistently. Legacy isn't built on grand gestures. It's built in repeat appearances. And 4, create memory anchors. Those small traditions, they matter more than you know. There's something sacred about the turning of a year. Not because the calendar flips, not because we suddenly become different people overnight, but because a new year gives us permission. Permission to reflect, permission to release, permission to begin again. And here's that aha moment I want you to hear. A new year doesn't ask you to become someone new. It asks you to become more intentional about who you already are. Isn't that a part of why we're here to begin with at Holly's Highlights? To encourage, inspire, and equip to intentionally live your life full of purpose. As I step into this next year, I find myself asking different questions than I used to. Not what do I want to accomplish, but how do I want to live? Not what do I want to build, but who do I want to impact? Before we rush ahead, we have to look back, honestly. Larry and Barbara didn't measure life by productivity. They measured it by people. They didn't choose legacy. They lived it, one ordinary day at a time. The way you lived this past year is already teaching you how you want to live the next year. So ask yourself, who got the best of me this year? Who got what was left? Where did I feel most like myself? And where did I feel most drained? Psalms 90 verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Wisdom doesn't come from doing more. It comes from noticing more. Every new year invites us to pack differently. Some things we carry forward, love, lessons, people who make us better, and some things, they were never meant to come with us. You cannot carry everything into the new year and still walk freely. So ask yourself, what habits no longer fit who I'm becoming? What expectations am I ready to release? What relationships need healthier boundaries? Hebrews 12:1 reminds us, let us throw off everything that hinders and run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Letting go is not failure. Sometimes letting go is faith. Larry and Barbara taught me something profound. You don't decide your legacy at the end of your life. You decide it every day. You choose presence over distraction. As you enter this new year, don't just ask, what are my goals? Ask, when people think of me, how do they feel? Do people feel rushed or received in my presence? Do I make room or do I fill every space with myself? This is what Jesus modeled. Mark 10:45 says, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Greatness is not loud. It's available. This year, instead of resolutions that can exhaust us, and as we've talked about in past episodes, just kind of fade off within the few months, I want to invite you into intentions that ground us. And here's a few you might consider. I will be more present than productive. I'll choose people over pace. I'll create spaces where others feel safe. I'll love intentionally, not accidentally. So you don't need to do more in the new year. You just need to do what matters. Colossians 3:17 says, whatever you do, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus. Even the small things, and especially the small things. Here's your challenge for the year ahead. I hope that you'll be the kind of person someone remembers as home. Not perfect, not impressive, but safe. And to do that, you can ask yourself, who can I consistently show up for this year? Or where can I slow down enough to notice? And how can I love in ways that outlive me? Someone's healing may come not from what you say, but from how you stay. As we step into this new year, I carry Larry and Barbara with me. Not in sadness, but in example. Their lives remind me that love doesn't have to be flashy to be faithful, that presence is powerful, and that being chosen and choosing others is one of the greatest gifts we're given. If you're listening today, my hope is that you don't just feel inspired. I hope you feel invited to slow down, invited to love deeper, invited to live in a way that leaves people better because you were in it. You matter, my friends. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Larry and Barbara never gave up on loving us. And their harvest, it lives on in me and my brother and my sister, and now through us in others. If you've been loved well, carry it forward. If you've been chosen, choose others. If you've been given refuge, become one. That is how we honor the people who shaped us. That's how we honor the people who chose us. Thank you for sitting with me today. If this episode touched you, I'd be honored if you'd share it with someone you love or leave a review to help others find this space as well. And as we close this year together, may we be people who show up, stay present, and love deeply. Thank you for being here this year. Thank you for listening, for sharing, and for walking this journey with me. This is Holly's Highlights. And as we step into the new year together, may we be known for how well we intentionally live our life full of purpose. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me on this journey of life. I hope that today's highlight has been encouraging, inspiring, and equipping so you can go out and live your life full of purpose. I'd be honored if you'd take a moment to leave a review, or better yet, subscribe. We can also stay in touch by joining my email list at hollykirby.com. That's HOLLYCURBY.com. Until next time, make it a great day for a great day.